Okay, so try to picture this. You're at the Kamakya Temple in North India, and this isn't just, any temple. It's one of the most spiritually intense places on the planet, dedicated to the Mahavidyas, the tantric goddesses.
The atmosphere there is meant to be incredibly thick. You have incense, chanting, bells.
It's a complete sensory overload. And then, right in the middle of all this devotion, you witness a ritual slaughter.
Yeah, that is a confronting image. For a lot of people, especially from the West, just seems like a huge paradox.
It really does. You have this religion that we so often associate with nonviolence, with ahimsa, and then you see this very visceral, very real act of sacrifice.
And for the source of our deep dive today, a man named Osman, it wasn't just confronting, it was a genuine shock.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we are not talking about, like, offering a flower or breaking a coconut here. We're talking about a very large horned animal. To Osman, watching this on a video, it looked for all the world like a bull.
And that's where the problem starts for him. That's the cognitive dissonance.
Right. He's thinking, wait a second, this is India. This is a Hindu temple.
Isn't killing a bull completely illegal? Isn't the cow, the ultimate sacred animal? He just couldn't square what he was seeing with what he knew.
So today we're going to follow Osman's investigation. And we really need to talk about Osman himself for a minute because he calls himself the blind Muslim yogi.
That's quite a title.
Isn't it? He's a bioenergy healer, a yoga teacher for almost 50 years. And he's Muslim, so he's coming at this from so many different angles.
And he basically goes down this rabbit hole trying to understand how this temple can legally and spiritually justify sacrificing what really, really looks like a cow.
And the answer he finds is, it's fascinating because it's not about religion just ignoring the law. It's actually about zoology creating a kind of a pathway through the religion.
It's a distinction that I don't think many people know exists.
Me neither. But before we get into the legal stuff, let's just touch on what started it. Osman's watching this video, and a woman is describing the sacrifice firsthand.
And she says something. Well, something pretty eerie.
She does. She says the animal, which she calls a bull, was staring right into her eyes. And then, moments before the end, it just became incredibly calm.
Almost like it accepted what was happening. And then she mentioned seeing lights.
Yeah, lights emanating from the creature the moment it died. It's all very mystical, very energy-focused.
But Osman, even though he's an energy healer himself, he gets stuck on the practical side.
He can't get past the law. He knows that in most of India, you can't slaughter cows. It's a massive political issue. So he does what we'd all do.
He asks an AI.
He asks his AI, Grok, and that's what leads us to what I'm calling the great bovine loophole.
Or maybe distinction is the better word, but it completely changes the context.
So what's the answer?
Well, Grok clarifies it pretty quickly. The animal being sacrificed is not a Bos taurus or a Bos indicus.
Okay, so not a cow or a bull in the way we think of them.
Exactly. It's a water buffalo. Boobalus boobalus.
Wait, hold on. To me, and I think to Osman at first, that sounds like splitting hairs. They're both huge, horned, bovine animals.
They look very similar, sure. But this is the crucial part. In the eyes of Indian law, and just as importantly in scripture, beef is beef and buffalo is buffalo.
So they're treated as completely separate things.
Completely. Killing a cow is sacrilege. It's illegal in most places. It's a huge taboo. But killing a buffalo, that's seen as permissible. And in Tantra, it's often a prescribed ritual.
So the law literally draws a line in the sand between these two relatives. You're sacred, you're not.
Right. And Osman doesn't just accept this. He kind of pushes back on it, which I found interesting. He starts making these comparisons.
Yeah, he brings up the big 5 game animals in South Africa.
His point is that the African buffalo is one of the most dangerous animals alive. It's aggressive, it's powerful. He compares it to, like, a Spanish fighting bull.
So he's saying if you look at their nature, their temperament, they're incredibly similar. Both are these primal forces. He even mentions the American bison, which, we call buffalo.
And a bison burger tastes an awful lot like a beef burger.
Right. So he's asking, why does the sensitivity argument apply to one and not the other if it's about not harming a sentient being?
Why is the buffalo exempt? Is it just because one is seen as a mother figure and the other isn't?
It's a good question. It really highlights how specific these cultural definitions can be.
He even admits that at age 57, he just learned that buffalo meat isn't considered beef. He thought it was all in the same category.
And this gets even more complex when you bring in modern definitions of what it means to be a Hindu. He references a popular tantric practitioner, a guy named Rajarshi Nandi.
Yes, and Nandi is a key voice here because he's an insider. He has this three-part definition for being a modern Hindu.
Okay, what is it?
1, you need some knowledge of the scriptures. 2, you have to worship a deity. And 3, the big one, the absolute rule, is you do not eat beef. And now you have a logic trap.
A huge one. Think about it. You have a tantric at Kamakya. They sacrifice a buffalo. In these rituals, the meat is often eaten as prasad, a blessed offering.
So if you just go by the common sense definition that buffalo is a type of beef,
Then the tantric is breaking his own fundamental rule. He's a beef eater.
but he isn't. Not technically.
Hmm.
Because of that zoological distinction we talked about. Since the law and the scriptures say buffalo is not cow, the trap just opens up.
A technicality saves the theology.
For the practitioner, it's probably not a technicality. It's a fundamental truth about the energy of the animals. But for Osman, looking at it through a biological lens, it just feels arbitrary.
Which makes sense when you understand who he is.
Yeah.
We really should spend some time on his background because it's unique.
It is. He's not just some guy on the internet. He calls himself a master-level bioenergy healer. He claims to have telepathic abilities.
And he's been teaching yoga for 46 years. So for him, a sacrifice isn't just a legal question, it's an energy transfer. Everything is about vibration and energy flow.
Which, of course, dictates his diet. And his diet is, well, it's intense.
Intense is one word for it. He follows a raw, cruciferous, vegan-centered diet.
Very restrictive. No sugar, no processed carbs, no spice. And, really interesting for a yogi, no onions or garlic.
I've heard that before. What's the deal with onions and garlic? They're vegetables. They're good for you.
In yogic and Ayurvedic thought, they're considered rajasic and tamasic, meaning they either overstimulate you or make you lethargic and dull. They're seen as static.
So they interfere with the signal he's trying to receive or send out.
Exactly. He's trying to maintain peak energy for his healing work. He's tuning his body like a precision instrument.
But, and this is my favorite part, he's human. He tells these stories about his pizza incident.
Yes, the pizza incidents, they're great.
So about 6 years ago, someone gives him a chicken pizza, and he hates wasting food, so he just eats it.
And then there was the time a friend got him a vegetarian pizza, but it had a meat-stuffed crust.
He realized halfway through, but finished it anyway. No waste. But what's really interesting is how his body reacted. He says years ago that would have completely dampened his abilities.
He would have blocked his healing energy. But now, he says his energy level is so advanced that it doesn't really affect him in the same way.
He still avoids it by choice, though.
Yeah.
And this is where he brings in his identity as a Muslim.
Right, because in Islam, eating beef is totally fine. It's not haram.
So he makes it very clear he's avoiding it for yogic reasons, not religious ones. It's purely functional. It's like an athlete skipping junk food before a game.
It's a fascinating way to navigate all these different identities. He's respecting one tradition, questioning another, and then building his own operating system based on what works for him.
And that mindset, that willingness to question the rules, that brings us to his critique of sleep.
Oh, this is a bold move.
He goes right after some of the biggest names in the yoga world. He specifically calls out Sadhguru.
He does. He attacks this whole idea, which you hear a lot, that if you're spiritually advanced, you only need like 3 or 4 hours of sleep.
That it's a badge of honor, a sign of efficiency.
And Osman says he believed it. Totally bought into it. He says from the age of 10, he was sleeping less than 4 hours a night because he thought it was the holy thing for a yogi to do.
From age 10,
Yeah.
that cannot be good for you.
Well, now he says it's not. He says it was a huge mistake, and he uses science to back it up. He talks about epigenetics and telomeres.
Okay, break that down. Telomeres.
They're like the little plastic tips on your shoelaces, but for your DNA, they protect it. Every time your cells divide, they get a little bit shorter. When they're gone, your cells start to malfunction. That's aging.
And he's saying sleep deprivation makes them shorten faster.
Much faster. He says that if you follow that holy advice and sleep only 4 hours, you are literally guaranteeing a shorter lifespan and a higher risk of chronic disease. He calls it absolutely bad advice.
It's a huge statement from someone so deep in that world. He's basically saying, I followed the gurus and they were wrong. Trust biology.
And it all ties back to his central theme, doesn't it? Whether it's the biological line between a cow and a buffalo or the biological need for sleep, he's always looking for the physical, verifiable truth behind the spiritual practice.
He respects the tradition, But he won't ignore the facts on the ground.
Exactly. Don't just follow the ritual, understand the mechanism.
Hmm.
And if the ritual contradicts basic biology, you need to ask why.
He's even trying to offer more practical paths. I saw he has these telepathic anxiety fixes for $5,
And a 5-minute yoga protocol,
which sounds a whole lot more achievable than the 4 hours of sleep protocol, that's for sure.
a much more grounded approach.
So when we zoom out, what have we really uncovered here? It feels like we went from a temple sacrifice all the way to DNA science.
It was a journey through definitions, really. We learned beef is a lethal and scriptural construct, not just a culinary one. We found out that the water buffalo exists in this totally separate spiritual category from the cow.
And that distinction is what allows this ancient ritual to continue in the modern world.
And then we met Osman, this blind Muslim yogi who's navigating it all through his own lens of energy efficiency. He's constantly testing the system.
Right. If the raw diet works, he keeps it. If the sleep deprivation is damaging, he throws it out, no matter who recommended it.
It's kind of spiritual empiricism.
And it makes you question all the labels we use, sacred, profane, healthy. We think they're universal, but they're often based on these very specific, maybe even arbitrary lines.
The line between one species and another. The line between 4 hours of sleep and 8.
It forces you to ask yourself, am I following the spirit of a rule, or am I just clinging to a technicality?
That's the real question, isn't it? Are you reading the map, or are you actually looking at the land in front of you?
And I want to leave everyone with a final thought from all this, something that really stuck with me from Osman's logic about the buffalo.
Go on.
If the difference between an animal being considered sacred and one being sacrificial is just its zoological classification, a slight difference in genetics or the shape of its horns, and not its capacity to feel pain or fear, well, how do we draw our own moral lines in our lives?
That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
Because we all do it. We all find our own little loopholes. I don't do that, but I do this, so it's okay. We create categories to make our own behavior acceptable.
Exactly. It's not beef, it's buffalo. Does changing the label really change the act itself? That's something to think about.
Indeed. It's always worth taking a closer look at the definitions we live by.
Thanks for diving in with us. It's been a ride from the Himalayas all the way down to the telomere.
It's always a pleasure.
Keep questioning those definitions. You never know what you'll find. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.